cannot believe a week has already gone by. Just like that. 46 weeks to go. Wow. This week has been probably the most overwhelming weeks of my life. There's been so much information thrown at you, so many orientations, so many tours, different locations, different buildings, different rooms. Lost count of the number of times I got lost in the hospital. Getting used to the surroundings is a little difficult, other than getting lost a few times a day. There's so many things that are just confusing in a hospital. So during one of the tours we were walking around, and it's a hospital, so there's hand sanitizers everywhere, and one of the girls tried to sanitize her hands, and then there ended up being soap in there instead of hand sanitizer, so she was walking around and her hands were getting really soapy, and she had to go wash them off. It was much funnier in the moment. I must say it feels pretty cool to be in a hospital. Makes me feel like I'm in Grey's Anatomy a little bit. Maybe not yet, maybe once I start dealing with patients. What was the question again? All the other dietetic interns are so nice. I can say I'm really happy to be in the same class as them for this year. Gonna have some fun times together, some stressful times together, but we'll all get through it. I already have homework to work on. My first rotation is in clinical, and it's in the rehabilitation building. So I'm going to be working with patients that have had a stroke or have had an amputation or are recovering from a surgery. So any form of rehabilitation. We got these penguins. This is Penny, the PEN, Practice-Based Evidence in Nutrition stress reliever. Really enjoyed the dietetic interns luncheon, so we got free food and we got to meet some of the preceptors that we'll be working with. It's definitely been a struggle waking up to be somewhere for 8 or 8:30 a.m. Especially after the summer, so I'm still adjusting to that. There's been a bunch of great dietitians that have come to speak to us, give us some of their advice, feedback, tips for the internship, and just for dietitians in general. There's been a lot of meetings just to go over internship rules, intern responsibilities, the quality improvement project that we're going to be working on, and some of the case studies that are going to happen at the end of each clinical rotation. Each one being more difficult than the next, and more things will be expected from us. This is the Bible. This is something we were given this week, probably the most important piece of information and reference that we will need for clinical rotations. We're supposed to have it basically memorized. And it was really emphasized that if you don't, you can kill somebody. This is what my ID card looks like. And we got our office key. So all the interns get their own office. There's some computers. I've been appointed as the office manager, so I'm in charge of any supplies that need replenishment in the office, thank you cards to some of the speakers, and setting up a meeting schedule, fun stuff like that. I really liked how one of the dietitians described us as winners of Willy Wonka's golden ticket, but for dietetics, except that there's 10 instead of 5, which is what it actually feels like. I feel so fortunate to be there. I can already just only imagine how much I'm going to learn from all these fascinating people and all the people that I'm going to meet. And I'm really excited to be going to rehab, because you get more time with the patient, to actually bond with the patients instead of just seeing them one time for 15 minutes. So I'm really excited. Can you tell? You really just gotta make sure you stay confident. And that is really the key. Thinking back, when I applied other years, I wasn't nearly as confident in my own abilities and my public speaking skills until probably the last year of my graduate degree. I also recommend a master's for anybody because it really develops your critical thinking skills, and it just really reinforces everything you learned and kind of combines it with the real world, just as the internship is going to do it from a more clinical and managerial perspective. Something you could have done beforehand, if I could go back in time, was probably spend more time this summer kind of reviewing things I learned in university, some of the nutrition practice guidelines, and some of the medical terminology. So we got this scary book of dietetic intern competencies in order to go into the practice and be able to write the exam. And it looks scary. There's about things that you need to know how to do that all need to be initialed and signed off. We had a presentation on accreditation and the legal things to do with licensing and dietetics. So I had my very first competency checked off this week. Hundreds more to go. Yay! I survived the first week! But let's see how next week goes. I'm really excited to talk to you guys about what my placement in the rehab center is going to be like, so stay tuned and make sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and show this video to your fellow nutrition friend that's thinking about applying for the internship.